Only twice since 1979 have the Oilers won 9 straight games. Can they do it again against a veteran Lightning squad? We get you set for the Oilers and the Lightning on the Oil Stream pregame show. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the pregame show. Tom Gazzola, YouTube Trev with you. Joaquin Gage will be along later for Game Changers, as will Gabby Shirley, covering the Lightning for their website, as well as Bally Sports Florida, as we get you set for Edmonton and Tampa tonight, as this 6-game homestand continues for the Orange and Blue, who have won 8 straight and looking for that elusive 9th in a row. They did it last year, and they've also done it in 2001. And outside of that, that's it. That's the highest they've gone in the regular season when it comes to a winning streak, is 9 in a row. So will they get there tonight? We'll find out. They're in a good spot to do so against a Tampa team that has had a bit of a tough road of late, I suppose is a good way to put it, but they have won 3 of their last 5. Prior to that, they were on a 4-game losing streak, were those Tampa Bay Lightning. Overall, the Oilers come into this one 13-12-1, while the Lightning come in at 13-12-5. Tampa 5-9-2 on the road. Edmonton 9-4-1 on home ice. So let's go to the question of the night. I put it out to you, our listeners. If you are tuning in via the TuneIn app or our audio stream, thank you as always. You can hit us up at the text line 780-218-9999. And if you're watching on our EST YouTube channel, thank you as well. And you know the Nasty Chat well. Get in on the Nasty Chat. Question of the night, I put it to you. I'll read the best ones as they come in throughout the show, getting set for tonight's matchup. Do you think this version of the Oilers will be able to tie and then set the franchise record for consecutive wins? The record is 9 in a row. And if they get to 10, that would be a new franchise mark. 780-218-9999 if you want to text us. And then if you want to get into the Nasty Chat, do it at your own peril. I'm kidding. Take care of yourselves. ELE, it is the holiday season, and we want to spread good tidings in the Nasty Chat and here in Oil Country. YouTube Trev, how you doing, pal? Welcome back.
Yeah, doing real good tonight, Tommy. It's going to be a good game, and very, very looking forward to it. It's a completely different team. As just listening to John Cooper, he even said that, which we will listen to a little later in the show. But this is a completely different team from, 3 weeks ago now, maybe. It's going to be a great battle. It's going to be interesting. I really have no idea where it's going to go. Earlier this morning, Dusty asked me on the Nielsen show. He said, "What are your thoughts?" I said, "Oh no, the Oilers they're buzzing right now. It should be an easy dub." And I don't know. Ever since I said that, I've just had, I don't know. I might have jinxed it, but 9 games tonight. Can they tie it? Oh gosh, I certainly hope so. It definitely would be awesome. And 10-game heater. That's the first time that's ever happened. Are you kidding me? That's so weird. That never, not once in the 80s when they were just the one of the best teams ever did they have a 10-game win streak. So it's very surprising. Could they do it tonight? Time will tell. But one thing's for sure, it should be a good game. Lots of talent out there. So I'm looking forward to it.
Tampa coming off a 4-1 loss in Vancouver on Tuesday. The Oilers' 4-1 victory over Connor Bedard and the Chicago Blackhawks on Tuesday as well. You jinxed yourself. I'm kidding, Trev. I kid, man. It's all good. But you know what? These are 2 teams with a lot of offensive firepower that can get the job done and hurt you if you let them. And so we'll see which team comes out sharper. We are going to go inside the Oilers locker room as well later on. We'll hear from Matthias Ekholm and Evan Bouchard, as well as head coach Chris Knobloch, who is 10-3 as a coach of the Edmonton Oilers. And then we'll also hear from John Cooper, his thoughts. I asked him, how different is this Oilers team from the one he faced or his team faced a few weeks ago back in Tampa? He had a great answer. So we'll get to that, as well as Gabby Shirley and Joaquin Gage on another edition of the Oil Stream pregame show. 780-218-9999 if you want to text us, and then the Nasty Chat Let's go to a couple of chats that came in before we even started the show via the nasty chat. X-Ray J says, let's go Oilers. Here's hoping the team feels better than my man cold. First time sick since January 1st and 2nd of 2021. Really does suck. I should be kinder to my friends when they're feeling sick. X-Ray J, get well, buddy. Hit up. I love using emergency. Either you get the gummies or the packets that you mix in with a water, and those are a good immune booster. And when I was traveling with the Oilers back in the day, whenever it was cold and flu season, we had a couple of packets each on our seats ready to go, just because they were recommended by the medical team. And I found that they worked well. I don't know how much of it is placebo. I don't know how much of it is actual scientifically proven, but I still like using that stuff. And I feel like it gives me that little kick if I'm feeling like something's coming on. So X-Ray J, if you have a chance, try some emergency, either the gummies or the little powder packages, and mix it with water. It's good stuff. VR Montenegro chiming in. Hello, VR Montenegro. Good to hear from you. Let's go Oilers. Get number 9 and achieve hoochie coochie levels of hotness on this streak. This one says Leon over 4 points tonight. And Dave says, let's go, boys. And Ryan says, hello, everyone, or everyone. And Silver Capri says, let's go. Jim Johnson says, get on with it. Okay, Jim, just for you, buddy. Let's get on with the show. Let's get into starting lineups for the Edmonton Oilers. Not anticipating any change, really. McDavid between Nugent Hopkins and Hyman. And I suppose if you want to call this change, sure, it's a different look than what started the game against the Blackhawks. But we did see the change from Chris Knobloch mid-game when he flipped Draisaitl and McLeod. So Leon Draisaitl expected to be between Warren Foegele and Matthias Janmark, whereas Ryan McLeod expected to be between Evander Kane and Connor Brown. Kane has been, I'm assuming, nicked up the last few days, did not practice yesterday, did not take the morning skate on Tuesday. It was a highly optional skate this morning for the Edmonton Oilers. And then the fourth line, which has provided some offense lately and has been pretty darn good. Got another goal the other night. Sam Gagner picked up the goal on a nice feed from Derek Ryan, while Brett Kulak was banging and crashing below the Blackhawks goal line, which was surprising, but a job well done by the defenseman Kulak. James Hamlin between Gagner and Ryan on the fourth line. I don't know and think that Adam Ernie will be in this game tonight, especially with that line and this team rolling the way it has been of late. On the blue line for the Oilers tonight, no changes expected there either. Darnell Nurse with Cody Ceci, Matthias Ekholm with Evan Bouchard, who is red hot, and that point streak continues. Picked up a couple more points the other night. And as he told us this morning, he's very aware of this streak because we keep reminding him. That's the name of the game, Evan, as he pursues Paul Coffey's franchise record of 28 straight points, or 28 straight games with points as an Oilers defenseman. Third pairing for the Oilers, Brett Kulak with Vinny Desharnais. Out for Edmonton, Dylan Holloway remains on the IR with the lower body issue. I know people keep texting in saying, where's Holloway? Where's Holloway? Is he back? Is he close? No. The answer is no. I haven't even heard if he's skating on his own yet. So the answer is no. Nothing really doing yet. I'm sure we'll find out soon. No Ernie, like I mentioned, and no Ben Gleason. As for Tampa, this is what we are expecting from the Lightning. Braden Point between Alex Barré-Boulet, Nikita Kucherov and then Nikita Kucherov on the right side of that line. Kucherov absolutely on fire this season, leading the charge offensively in the National Hockey League. Anthony Cirelli centering Tanner Jeannot and Brandon Hagel. And then you got Nick Paul between Steven Stamkos and Connor Sheary. Luke Glendening between Tyler Mott and Michael Eyssimont. On the back end for the Lightning tonight, Mikhail Sergachev with Eric Chernak, Calvin DeHaan with Darren Radish, and then you've got Hayden Fleury with Nicholas Perbix. Read a cool story that Nick Perbix's first name spelt like Jack Nicklaus's last name because his dad is such a big fan, and I think his brother's name is actually Jack. So some big Gull fans in the Perbix family. Out for the Lightning tonight, Victor Hedman, day-to-day, upper body. Logan Brown, IR undisclosed, and no Austin Watson. It is worth noting that the Lightning did recall defenseman Sean Day from Syracuse and reassigned defenseman Philip Myers and forward Mitchell Chaffee as well. That brings us to starting goalies for the Edmonton Oilers tonight. 25-year-old Stuart Skinner getting the nod, 11-7-1 on the season, 292 GAA. His goals against average has dropped below 3, and he's got an 890 save percentage as that one creeps up closer to 900. Skinner also with a shutout in 20 games this year. Lifetime versus the Lightning, just the one appearance versus Tampa. Skinner, a 5.08 goals against average, a 783 save percentage, looking to improve both of those numbers and maybe adding a win into that record as well. As for at the other end of the rink, we will see Andrei Vasilevsky, at least we're expecting to. 29-year-old is 4-4 this season, 274 goals against average, 894 save percentage, with one shutout in 8 games this season. 5-3-0 record with a 316 goals against average, 899 save percentage in 8 games against Edmonton over the course of Vasilevsky's career. Hit us up in the inbox, 780-218-9999, Oilers and Lightning, and via the nasty chat as well. Let's get to some text. I see a bunch coming in. This one from Tube Socks. Tube Socks sending in an octopus photo from earlier in the day sitting on a couch. That's weird, Tube Socks, but you know what? Creative minds do weird things, I guess. Another text, Jason the Pharmacist says, big night, Tommy. I think they tie the record tonight, but lose to Florida on Saturday. Florida's a good team, and you know what? No shame in winning 9 in a row, but they got to get that one tonight against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Andy Pandy says, Oilers tie the record tonight, lose to Florida Saturday, 7-5 Oilers tonight in a pond hockey matchup. Andy Pandy, I like that. Take the over if you're feeling it like Andy Pandy is. And then Justin Texan says, TG, if you're going to the game, stop by, say hi, stand outside 126 right by the doors. You guys are looking for 3 in a row with the EST hat in the house. Justin, yes, rocking that EST hat. We appreciate you doing that very, very much. This one says, good evening. This game will be a defining moment for the Oilers. This is a game where Edmonton needs to show up. Win or lose, needs to show it will only be done by a goal. All right. This one comes in from Cute Laura. Hey, handsome Tom. Cute Laura here, watching the game from home with my husband and our 7-month-old Oilers fan. Everyone's got their jerseys on tonight. Let's go, Oil. Cute Laura. Have fun watching the game with your fresh bebe and your other babe, I suppose. And everybody's got their Oilers gear on. So absolutely tremendous. Stay warm, although the weather's been pretty good. So hopefully the Oilers give you some reason to cheer tonight. Keep those texts coming in at 780-218-9999. We'll be joined by Gabby Shirley shortly, reporter for the Lightning and Bally Sports Florida. Question of the night, one more time for you. Throw it out there. Do you think this version of the Oilers will be able to tie and then set the franchise record for consecutive wins? This text says, hey, Tommy, any idea where Campbell might get a call up to try again? And that comes in from Yeg Sparky. Yeg Sparky, all I was told today was that eventually they're going to get him back up here. And they're not, there's not a lot of takers for Jack Campbell right now, but if they can trade him, they'll try to. But they don't really want to give up a first or multiple firsts or a first and a second. They're reluctant to do so. So that is the latest I've heard. Yeah, so Campbell soon-ish. But, man, Calvin Pickard played really good against the New Jersey Devils. And I don't know. I wouldn't rush it unless they made a promise. Cass and I have discussed it before. Unless they made a promise to Jack Campbell that they wanted to get him up at a certain point relatively soon. Don't rush it. So we'll see what happens, but appreciate the question. Quaddy says Holloway needs to be wrapped in bubble wrap when he gets back. And then this one from Jason Lynn Leduc says, does the pattern on Tommy's jacket get a little foggy and ethereal when he moves, or is it just me? No, I think maybe it's the camera. I don't know, Jason Duke. It's a weird one. I don't know. It doesn't work that well on camera, but in person, it's pretty sharp. All right. Gabby is looking to reconnect. YouTube Trev, if we can't connect with her and the Wi-Fi at Rogers Place isn't working well enough, we can just phone her. Just keep me posted on that one, buddy.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. 780-218-9999. Waiting on Gabby Shirley when she is good to go. Hopefully we get her on camera, but if not, we'll just call her and get her on the phone. This is one of 8 games on the schedule tonight. Oilers and Lightning meeting for the second and final time this season. You'll recall the Oilers fell to the Lightning back on November 18th, a different team for the Oilers, although they were early in the Chris Knobloch era. And Chris Knobloch now 10-3 as head coach of the Oil. One of 8 games, like I mentioned. Let's find out what's going on around the National Hockey League so far tonight. After 1 in Philly, Washington and the Flyers even up, no score. Columbus leads Toronto 2-0 after 1 in Toronto, and then over in Detroit, Carolina is up 1-0 7 minutes into the game over the Red Wings. You've got Calgary at Mini tonight. You've got Ottawa visiting St. Louis. Some interesting comments from Blues players in regard to Craig Berube and his dismissal. Former Oiler Drew Bannister taking over behind the bench for the Blues. Edmonton welcoming Tampa tonight, of course. Later on, we'll see Seattle host Chicago, and then Vancouver has the Panthers, who will be in town on Saturday to wrap up this 6-game homestand. I see Gabby's ready to go. She's at Rogers Place. Let's bring her on. Gabby Shirley, covering the Lightning for the Lightning and Bally Sports Florida. Gabby, how's your trip to Edmonton going so far?
Hi, Tom. It's been great thus far. Everyone is telling me that the weather is actually warm and pleasant here. I would never consider it warm, but I'm taking what they're saying and I am appreciating it. I've been walking around and the Lightning are ready to roll tonight. So I'm excited for this game.
Excellent. Are you a Floridian? Like, are you born and raised?
Gosh, I feel like I'm a Floridian now that I've been there for 10 years, but I'm actually from Philadelphia.
Oh, you're a Philly gal. Okay.
Yeah, but I've gotten soft with the weather. I hate the cold.
It's not hard to get soft, spending time in warm climates. I've spent my fair share of time in Arizona, and I know what it's all about. But Gabby, welcome, and glad to have you on the Oil Stream pregame show as we get set for the Oilers and the Lightning. Okay, 1-2 so far. These Lightning are on this 5-game road trip. Coming off that loss in Vancouver, in your opinion, from what you saw, from what you've heard from the players and the coach, John Cooper, what went wrong for Tampa in that game on Tuesday night?
I feel like everyone just wants to put that game behind them, although it wasn't all bad for the Lightning. That first period ended 1-1, and it was actually pretty good. I'm looking at my notes here. The Lightning were winning the battles on the boards. Their defense was leading to offense. They did have 2 power plays, and I heard perhaps the one critique from that very first period was that they passed up on some opportunities to shoot the puck, passed up on some good looks, and that ultimately would hurt them later in the game because they didn't score after that first period.
Mm-hmm.
The second period, which we have seen from this team, did not go their way. There were 2 back-to-back goals for the Canucks. That first of those 2, Eric Chernak falls down, his man scores. That was a little bit unfortunate. But again, the Lightning have a habit of letting things snowball. Now, those 2 goals weren't really that close, but again, when you're down 3-1, then you're chasing, and then it's just not great. The third period, the Lightning pushed, but they just couldn't score. So a little bit frustrating. I think that might be one of the themes of this season, Tom, that the Lightning aren't playing as bad as their record would show. But yeah, it's been a little frustrating for this team for sure.
Yeah, and I guess that coincides with the second question I was going to ask you, because since we saw the Oilers and Lightning a few weeks ago, there was a 4-game losing streak in there. They've dropped a couple. You talked about the game in Vancouver. Edmonton in that time has managed to turn things around. And the sky was falling here, Gabby, and we saw it on this show. We talked about it on all of our shows on the station, and this market was going crazy, and rightly so. But in that time for the Lightning, how would you describe things going overall for this Tampa team?
Oh, man, I've seen a little bit of the sky is falling from our fans. Absolutely. It's been a bit of a roller coaster. But again, there's been positives throughout. So they just got to put it all together and play a full 60. I hate to use one of those cliches, but problems, I guess, if you compare to years past, the Lightning team, they're not as deep.
Right.
I just did a little research here prior to getting on with you, and of their 18 skaters that are going to be on the ice tonight, half of them, 9, have played 53 games or less for this team. So there
Right.
are a lot of new guys that are kind of trying to find their place in the locker room, on the ice, trying to adapt to the system. The Lightning tweaked some things on defense. The Lightning were without Andrei Vasilevsky for the first 20 games of the season.
Right.
Now they're without Victor Hedman. That shouldn't be too bad. He's day-to-day with an upper body injury. And again, all part of the game. They're not excuses, but just some things that the Lightning are dealing with this season.
I'm glad you bring up Vasilevsky, and he came back earlier than anticipated, right? And how much could you tell that they were missing Vasilevsky, going to Jonas Johansson for all those games while Vasilevsky was out?
I don't think the Lightning could have hoped for anything better with Jonas Johansson and Matt Tompkins in net while Vasilevsky was gone. The team was 9-6-4 in those first 20 games. So those two goaltenders actually did a pretty good job. Vasilevsky's been back. He has 8 games under his belt. He's 4-4. We've seen flashes of quote unquote vintage Andrei Vasilevsky. He's not that old, but
No, he's
I
not.
think that it's going to take a little bit of time for him to get reacclimated to game action, as anyone would, player, goalie, probably more so for a goalie. So the team is certainly happy, thrilled to have him back, and I think he's only going to get better from here.
Yeah, he's an absolute beast, and I think there's like 30 franchises out there that would love to have him
Correct.
between the pipes. Yeah, maybe Winnipeg is one of the few that would actually say we're good without him. Maybe Dallas, maybe Vancouver.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe, right? Gabby Shirley joining us now, covering the Tampa Bay Lightning. You can catch her on Bally Sports Florida as we get set for the Oilers and Lightning closing out the season series. All right, lots of offensive firepower, lots of potential for goals in tonight's game, as well as 2 of the best power plays in the league going head-to-head. And you talk about the Lightning passing up like great shooting lanes. That was something that the Oilers were doing a lot of. So when you said that, I was like, hey, I'm getting flashbacks to earlier in the season. What do you anticipate from this game tonight, Gabby? Because we could see some fireworks offensively, and I'm okay with it.
I know. I'm really excited for this game, Tom. Obviously, I am not as privy to everything going on with the Oilers, but they're rolling right now. I think this Tampa Bay Lightning team has quite a challenge on their hands. But as I mentioned, they're a little bit frustrated, a little bit looking to kind of prove that we still got it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's going to be a pretty competitive game. You talk about the power play, for example. I mean, we have Steven Stamkos, Nikita Kucherov, Braden Point in the middle. It will be without that top unit, Victor Hedman tonight, but Mikhail Sergachev, he's been on there in and out for 2 seasons now.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm throwing cliches at you, but from the players, they're just saying, we're trying to be too cute. We just need to keep it simple, play our game. And I think that pertains particularly to the power play because the Lightning are so good there. And they need to score there. 11 games this season without a power play goal, Tom, and the Lightning have lost 9 of the 11. So that really shows how important special teams are to this team, which also goes to the issue of them scoring 5-on-5.
Right. Again, a lot of familiar topics that we end up hitting on here in Edmonton, and the Oilers' penalty kill has been really good of late.
Mm-hmm.
The PK has been a pleasant surprise, but I think overall the Lightning's special teams are slightly better than the Oilers, so that'll be a huge momentum swing if one team can take advantage of the other's power play or PK. Now, I want to ask you, you mentioned some guys that are still pretty young and early in their NHL careers, and Alex Barré-Boulet, like, what can you tell us about him? Because if he is lining up with Braden Point and Nikita Kucherov again tonight, like, what kind of player are we looking at here? Is he one of those guys that they're kind of relying on in Tampa to kind of pick up some of the slack from some of the guys who are gone veteran-wise?
So he is one of the players that I mentioned with not too many Tampa Bay Lightning games under his belt. He has 53 with the team over a couple seasons. He's been up and down, in and out, on waivers, back on the team.
Mm-hmm.
And he is a skill guy that is meant to score goals. He is slowly building, but again, I think it takes some time to really get acclimated. These lines for the Tampa Bay Lightning have been changing constantly. Tonight, I expect him to play with Point and Kucherov, which you think, oh my gosh, superstars, he has it
Yes.
easy. But it takes a special player to be able to play with guys like that. But I think that line, a top six, first line, second line, is better for a player like Alex Barré-Boulet, for sure.
He's a guy we're going to keep an eye on for sure. Another guy, Tanner Jeannot. I know that a lot of Oiler fans liked him. Good Western Canadian kid. Played in the WHL. A lot of people around here were hoping that the Oilers could somehow find a way to get him. How has he fit in from what you've seen in his time in Tampa coming over from Nashville?
Gosh, he's another one. So happy to have him on this Tampa Bay Lightning team. He's getting more and more comfortable by the day. I would say, selfishly, from the media interviewing players standpoint, that again, day by day, I am so excited to talk to him. Initially, he wasn't giving me much, but I feel like as he's becoming more comfortable with this team on the ice, he's opening up. He has 50 games with the Lightning. Tonight will be his 51st game. And as you know, he's a fighter. I think every NHL player should be scared of him because he is unreal if he drops the gloves. But again, I feel like he's getting those goals, getting in a position to score more so. And he scores right in front of the net, off the rebound. That's how he gets his goals. And I think he's getting better and better at putting himself in that position.
Yeah, he's afraid of nobody. He's got 6 goals, 5 assists through 30 games, and not afraid to grease it up.
Oh,
Gabby,
no.
great stuff. Thanks for hopping on today. Really appreciate the insight into the Lightning. Have a fantastic show tonight. Hopefully catch you at the rink.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you so much for having me on.
Awesome stuff. That is Gabby Shirley covering the Lightning. You can catch her on Bally Sports Florida as well. Absolute pleasure to have her on the Oil Stream as we get you set for the Oilers and the Lightning. 780-218-9999. If you want to text us, I see the nasty chats going. I'll dip into that to get to some comments. We do have Joaquin Gage coming up with Game Changers as well, filling in for Maddie Cassian. And so these two teams, the Oilers power play has now pushed itself to 4th in the National Hockey League. Tampa sitting at 3rd. They've been clicking nicely. And I did mention it to Gabby that the Lightning special teams overall is just slightly better than Edmonton's. If you combine the two and see what their numbers are. So Edmonton now at 28.1% on the power play, getting closer back up to that 30% range. The 28.1 is good for 4th. The PK is really good of late, obviously, since Mark Stewart has taken over. 80.4% now, sitting 15th. It dipped as low as like 27th, 28th, maybe even 29th at its absolute worst earlier this season. The penalty kill has also added 3 shorties of late. And so you take the 28.1 with the 80.4, that gets you close to 109, somewhere in that range, just about 109. And then the Lightning power play, 29 for 100. So obviously 29%. That's good for 3rd. So they're right above the Oilers. And then the PK is 81.1%. So they're at that 110 mark. The PK at 12th overall in the league at 81.1% with no shorties. But I'm sure they're going to get their fair share with the weapons that they have that can probably produce on the penalty kills. So slightly better, the Lightning special teams. If you do that, combine the two and see how high they are. But anytime you get above that 100 mark, that's generally pretty good. So 2 good teams with some weapons, and both PKs will definitely be tested tonight. Great stuff from Gabby. They're super nice. I didn't know she was from Philly, Trev.
Yeah, me either. I've never heard that phrase before. What did you say? Floridian? Floridian? Is that from Florida? Yeah,
Yes.
That's a new one. I was like, what does that mean? And then I put 2 and 2 together. I was like, but yeah, that's nice. Good old Philly girl, very nice. Yeah, she crushed it. It's gonna be a good one, Tommy. Just looking at the lineup, it's kind of interesting. They're really spreading their depth tonight, having Stammer on the 3rd line. I thought that was pretty interesting, but it's gonna be interesting to see how the whole Oilers 3rd line holds up with that. But very, very interesting.
Let's see some text here. This one comes in from the same texter. No name on the text. Good evening. We saw this will be defining moment for the Oilers. That's what the text originally came in earlier in the show. The texter adds, also, please keep us in mind. So let's send some positive vibes here to this EST listener. Please keep us in mind as my son, who's 3 years old, will be undergoing chemo and bone marrow transplant. He loves the Oilers and cheers, adds in a let's go Oilers every game. This message also goes out to all the families undergoing hard times with their little ones. Hugs, and if I'm around, a sure shoulder to cry on and listen. Oh man, that's tough. No name on that text, but our hearts go out to you. Positive vibes. I'm sure everybody listening and watching right now feels the same way, and especially this time of year. Hopefully your little one gets better and battles through, because that is super, super tough. Yes, definitely in our hearts, and lots of positive vibes going your way. All right, keep those texts coming in. 780-218-9999. What's going on in the nasty chat? X-Ray J and Jenna and Jason going in. I don't know what you guys are saying over there. I'm just going to leave that one alone. Let's just go with that. But make sure to smash that thumbs up button as well if you're watching. And let's play the old algorithm game. All right. We do have Gager coming up in about 10 minutes time. In between now and Joaquin, let's go into the Oilers locker room and hear from head coach Chris Knobloch.
About Evan Bouchard. Of course, we know the point totals and we know the assists he's accumulating, especially on the power play. But what are some of the finer things he does on the man advantage that goes a long way for you guys?
Well, I think he's good at transporting the puck in and into the forward's hands, making a good pass on the breakout so we can have possession time. Obviously, there's a lot of talk about his shot and getting it through and how hard it is. But, he makes some really good passes too. There is a threat of the shot, but he can find a seam pass or, make a nice pass underneath the stick that leads to scoring chances. So, it's easy to say he's dangerous because of his shot up there, but he's got a lot more elements to his game.
What about his ability to keep the puck in the zone? I feel like that's an underrated skill he has.
It is an underrated skill. One, it takes a lot of hand-eye coordination, whether it's getting your, you're waving it down with your stick. Another one is just using your body and blocking pretty much like a shortstop, keeping the puck or ball in front of you and knocking it down and then making the play after. And there's that. And then there's also just being aware of knowing where that puck's going to go. And, is the team going to, because ultimately a defenseman on the point, he's got to go from side to side. And, that puck could be recovered by the defenseman in the corner. And our defenseman, Bouch, in this case, needs to make a read. Is it coming up the strong side, or is it going to be hard rim going to the other side? And you got to be quick to get to side, and part of that is using your skating ability, but also, more importantly, your head.
What's Paul Coffey's influence been on him? How have you seen that relationship? I know he said it's been a relationship for a while, but having him, Paul, on the bench, how are you working with your defensemen? How's it been with the young guys particularly?
No, I think Paul's obviously done a really good job, and it's showing, not only with Bouch playing really well, but all six of them. Making simple plays, moving the puck up well, and also just moving their feet a lot more. Whether that's defending or getting up in the rush, you see our defense skating, getting more involved, playing faster. Definitely influenced by Paul coaching that group.
When you took over and you're sitting and strategizing as a coaching group about what the fix might be, what was the conversation about building confidence versus, maybe coming down more on guys because it hasn't been going well? What did that conversation go like?
Well, you see the team, and I don't think there was any need to be hard on guys. I think they were hard enough on themselves in the group. There's obviously frustration. I think coaches need to be hard on guys when they're complacent, when they are not paying attention to the details, or they don't care. When I got here, I didn't feel any of that. There's frustration. Guys wanted to win. They wanted to perform well. But often when you put too much pressure on yourself, that frustration builds up. And when there's frustration, I don't know anybody who can play well.
When things are going well, and they are for you right now, what's your approach to kind of keeping it on that track? How much, some coaches are even more, hard on guys or pushing things when things are going well because that's the time to do it. But what's your philosophy on how to keep it going?
My philosophy changes all the time with the team that you have. I'm just getting used to this team and learning the players and what they need and how much structure they need and how much just letting them play, how much room they need. I guess each situation will be different and what I see, and I don't know. I don't have a playbook to play that situation. I guess we'll just have to see how it goes.
Chris, for those of us who aren't around the team every day and seeing everything up close, I've read about your 8-game segments. If I could ask you to maybe highlight one or two things that this team has done better as a group to build the success that you've had over this last 8-game stretch.
Well, I think special teams is so important. So often games are decided by special teams, and you look at our last 8-game segment, 6 of those games we won the special team battles. We had more power play goals than the opposition. There's only 2 games that we didn't, and those 2 games were even. So anytime that we can win that little battle, it's going to help us tremendously. Penalty kill's been doing tremendous job right now, and the power play early on in the year was struggling, and there was a confidence issue with just the frustration and just putting too much pressure on themselves. And you knew that was going to turn around at some point. So right now, the way special teams are going, it's going to win us a lot of hockey games too. And then the other part of it is just playing good defense. With the players that we have, we'll score goals, we'll generate chances. We don't need to be pressing and cheating for offense. As long as we take care of playing good defensive hockey, we should give ourselves an opportunity to win each night.
All right, there's Chris Knobloch there getting ready for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and he mentions the special teams battle. Both teams very similar in terms of how their special teams are performing. However, Edmonton's PK continues to get better and better and better, which is nice to see. Both teams with excellent power plays, ranking 3rd and 4th overall in the NHL. Tampa's power play, 29%. Edmonton's 28.1%. All right, keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. Nasty chat, keep doing your thing. We'll get into that a little bit later on. Gager showing up in about 5 minutes' time. In the meantime, we will go back into the Oilers' room, and let's hear from Matthias Ekholm.
You've talked about Bouchard before, and that he's just got to make the play when he has the opportunity to make the play. And now he's on this incredible point streak, and it seems like there's maybe some of the misreads out of his game from earlier in the season. What are you seeing that's allowed him to be so much more productive than earlier?
Yeah, I think that definitely is something that I've seen change a bit from maybe the first 10, 12 games to where he's at right now. Is it starts in the D zone. It starts with his breakouts. He's very accurate. He hits usually our forwards' tapes or my tape every time, and it makes us go the other way. And offensive blue line, he makes his plays, but he doesn't turn them over and create odd man numbers going the other way. So I saw this last year from him. I've seen it this year. So again, every time I talk about Evan, I think the world of him. I think he's a great defenseman. I think he has offensive instincts that only a few guys in the league have. So it's great to watch, and it's great to see him get the recognition for it.
His shot from the blue line, who's he in a category with that you've seen?
I mean, if you want me to compare the shot, I'm not going to compare it to Shea Weber, because I think Shea Weber was one of those, I don't think anyone can ever shoot a puck like he did, but Evan's got a different shot. I mean, he's a smaller guy than Shea was, but he's very accurate with it, and obviously he's been letting it go from the blue line, and it's been very successful for him.
A lot of the messaging when we talk to you guys, the blue liners, is that you're encouraged to make plays, and you guys are skilled enough. Let's make some plays here. Let's start going up the middle of the ice more. Like, how much did that messaging to you guys help bring you out of whatever you were going through before?
A lot, and I mean, not to take anything away from the coaches we had before too. They were really good at I mean, you got to play defense, so you can't just make plays. You can't just throw it out the middle every time. It's gonna bite you in the end. So there's got to be some fundamentals to when you do it and in what fashion. So I think Koff has been great with that. He just, I mean, you guys know how he played as a player, and that's what he knows best and what he wants to preach and teach. And I think he's done a great job to not letting us know, but work on when is a good time to do it, when is not a good time to do it, and more importantly, just being very positive around it, even though it doesn't work out every time. Instead of just saying, don't do it, he's saying, maybe look for this, maybe look for that. So I think as a group, I think it fits us well. I think everybody can skate. I think everybody has a good hockey sense and knows when to pass and when not. And obviously we have skilled forwards, so we know if we can get it in their hands as quick as possible and in as good of spots on the ice as possible, and usually up the middle is the best spot to do it, and then they can attack and they can do their thing. So it kind of trickles that way.
At the same time, while maybe more guys are making plays and you're seeing more of that, you also seem to be defending better as well. How did defending better, come from that?
Great. I mean, I honestly don't know, but I do think there is something that when you break out the puck cleaner, it makes you spend less time in your D zone. It makes you, when you have to defend, you have more energy doing so. You do it more efficiently. And when you just come, I'm not saying we were just in the D zone before, but I think we do spend less time there right now. And when we do have to defend, it looks better because we have more juice, we have more jam. And I feel like we've done a good job of not letting teams maybe roam around our zone for a minute or a minute 15. We seem to be getting a good, even though they come in and they have pressure or they're roaming around a little bit, it usually takes about at least a shorter time to get the puck back and to break it out. So just spending the energy the right way and in the right areas helps a lot.
All right, there is Mattias Ekholm, the always well-spoken Viking. As Dr. Gonzo calls him, an absolute Viking. Connor F. says, Ekholm, like a proud dad when he talks about Evan Bouchard. All right, let's welcome in this proud man, looking good in his leather coat, rocking it. Let's call him Leather Daddy tonight. That's a joke. That's an Arrested Development joke. Joaquin Gage, thanks for filling in tonight for Matty Cassian. You listened to Mattias Ekholm there. Obviously well-spoken, but did anything stand out to you from what we heard from Ekholm, especially talk about like how the team's defending and then even talking about Evan Bouchard a little bit there, Gager?
Yeah, I think when you hear, if you compare the two times when you heard Ekholm talk, even to his play matches his speech patterns, I think, a little bit, Tommy. There, he sounds way more relaxed.
Yeah.
Not that he wasn't before, but just the way he explains things, he's quite honest, which is great. He doesn't kind of give us the same old kind of cliche answers. Mm-hmm. I like what he said about Paul Coffey. Sometimes you have coaches that don't allow, like when they make it very difficult for the creativity of players
right.
At certain point, depending on the player too. It sounds to me that they're really allowing the Oilers defensemen, well, just from what Ekholm was saying, to try to make those plays. If it doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world, but let's look at a way to make that play that if it's too dangerous, we can't do something like that. Let's find a different way around this to make maybe simplify it a little bit. That's kind of what I'm getting from, and that's what we're seeing. Mm-hmm. I think to a man from all six of the guys on the back end, their first pass is way better than it was at the beginning of the year. The decision making is better, and I really do think that they've implemented that kind of that 50-50 rule, where if it's like a pinch or a play that's a 50-50 puck, they're deferring to staying on the defensive side and going from there.
What do you think, Gager, as a former goalie, when the team now seems to put an emphasis or is more willing to use the middle of the D zone as an outlet? Because that is like, it's great when it works, but the potential for disaster is there. And I think we almost saw it last game or 2 games ago where there was a quick pass. I think it was Kulak tried to use that release valve through the middle and the forechecker was right on him, but Skinner was able to swipe the puck away. But as a goalie, like, What are you thinking when the coach is like, no, you guys can use the middle, use the slot to get it out?
I don't mind it really. Everyone has to be on the same page. Like there'll be times, I'm sure, if you had Stuart Skinner mic'd up, you would hear him yell out middle. A lot of times D-men come around the net if they're breaking out. Teams take the walls away, right? So sometimes those options aren't there. To give someone 1, 2, maybe even 3 options to move that puck quicker, I don't mind firing it up the middle. It's just other teams are going to start looking for it, right? You have to find those, I guess, like a robber in that situation, kind of just sniffing around and then deciding to do something else. But it's been working so far. It will come down to it to a point where, someone's going to pick one of these things off and get a really good scoring chance. But hey, then it's up to the goalie to make a save.
That's what they get paid the big bucks to do. Joaquin Gage, one of those guys that did do that back in the day. And he's providing his analysis for us tonight, filling in for Matty Cassidy. We always appreciate Gager on the pre- and post-game show. So with that being said, let's get to Game Changers, brought to you by Damon Bunting RE/MAX Elite. Damon Bunting, consistent top-producing realtor in Greater Edmonton and among RE/MAX realtors. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current one. Community-driven, he understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Gager, your topics for Game Changers tonight made me laugh, and I thought that they were very well thought out. And without further ado, let's go into Game Changers. Number 1, what's your vector, Victor?
Well, Victor's vector is press box or back home, wherever he is.
Press box tonight. Yeah.
Press box. Well, that's good news for the Oilers. I mean, we talked about it a little bit on Two Guys. Victor Hedman is still, I believe, one of the top 5 defensemen in the league. When a team can generates offense from the back end like that, just so good on both sides. Plays 25 minutes a night, always against the top skill, most of the time shutting it down. This is a chance for the Oilers to do something with it. Take advantage of not having arguably the Tampa Bay's, aside from Vasilevsky, I think their best player, and abusing some guys that maybe don't get on the ice as much as Victor Hedman does. We'll probably see Sergachev a lot more. I'd like to see, don't give him an easy night, because he's a whale of a defenseman as well. Finishing checks, making it hard, making them make decisions that they don't want to do, putting them in tough areas. This bodes well so far, but you have to execute to take advantage of one of your big pillars on the back end not in the lineup.
Yeah, he did take the morning skate, stayed out late, and then John Cooper ruled him out, said maybe this weekend in Calgary as they roll on through this road trip here. Number 2, Gager, stay off the naughty list. Ooh, very timely.
So as you get closer to Christmas, Tommy, you have to be on your best behavior. And that's just like in hockey games. The Oilers have been going great so far. Don't get into any bad habits. Stay the course. Keep doing what you're doing. They're playing at such a high level that other teams have to do something special to get to that level and execute even higher to be in this game. It's always tough around this time. You probably got family in, there's plans, but just stay focused, stay within it. Really, the start of the season doesn't allow the Oilers to take like a night off, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just it'd be nice to finish this kind of last bit of this segment before December 25th on a really high note, and then just hit the ground running in that second half of the year.
Gager, this Oilers team on the verge of tying a franchise record for consecutive wins. They did it last year, and then they also did it in 2001. Were you on that 2001 team? Were you back with the club when it went on that 9-game heater?
Yeah, I think I got sent to the minors at some point around there. But yeah, I was around at that point. I think that was the year. Was that the year?
I think it was.
I'd have to look.
2000,
it was 2001
because the team finished 6th, I think, and it was the highest finish. Because we're used to watching them finish 7th, 8th in the years prior, as opposed to, missing the playoffs. And then they finished 6th. And then I think it was still a first round loss to Dallas. So
Yeah.
it feels like you were still on that.
That was there. I think that was when, Billy Guerin and Doug Waite and Ryan Smith just went crazy for a while, and they were just unstoppable. He even had some George Laraque sightings on that line at certain points too. No one could get the puck off George on the boards. It was just hilarious.
Now, were you? I'm looking it up to see if you were on that. Like, I'm 100% sure that's when you came back to that team. Sergei Zholtok. There's another name that was on that team from that year. You were, and Dominic Roussel was also in the mix. As well. So, like, do you recall like the added? I know you talk about Waite, Guerin, and Smith going absolutely crazy, but do you remember the vibe around that team? Because it was one of the few Oiler teams in like a 20-year span that you're like, damn, they're pretty good this year. Like, look out almost.
Yeah, winning's very similar to losing in a sense, Tommy. It's almost like you feel like you can't lose or you can't win when things are going, like everything just seems to click.
Yeah.
From the goaltenders out at that point. I mean, Tommy Salo, again, I would have to say one of the top 5 goalies in the league at that point.
Yeah.
And it was such a hard team to play against. Like, it was throughout the lineup. We didn't have as much skill as a lot of the other teams. That was evident going up against the Dallas Stars in that first round that year. The Nieuwendyk came back and just killed us when he came back from injury. It was just disgusting. But I mean, we had Greer, we had Rem Murray, just Jason Smith, Brian's, like we had a Yanni Nienema. There was just a lot of hard-nosed guys that every shift made it difficult on the opposition, which was really tough to play against. That's why we won that many games in a row.
That team, I'm looking at the stats from that year. Ryan Smith, 31 goals. Doug Waite, 25. Mike Greer had a 20-goal season. Anson Carter, he came in that trade. I think that was in November.
That was the Bill Guerin,
the Bill Guerin deal. He had 16 goals in his first year with the Oilers. Rem Murray had 15. Dan Cleary, 14. Marchant, 13. Laraque, 13. Nienema had 12. Tom Poti had 12. Billy Guerin in 21 games with the Oilers, 12 goals, 10 assists, and then the trade happened. Ethan Morrow had 9. Sean Horkoff had 9. Mike Comrie came in halfway through the year and had 8. Brewer, 7. Jason Smith, who was a scary dude, had 5 goals, 15 assists, 120 PIMs. Gager. Kilger was a big boy. Sergei Zholtok was a veteran at that point. Igor Ulanov was on that team. I feel like I need to ask you some questions about Igor Ulanov at some point in time. But, like, there's some damn good players on that team. Do you remember when Mike Comrie came in? Remember he went back to university or
no,
skated with the Golden Bears or something?
Yeah, he was at the university, but he went to Kootenay. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
And
that's right.
It was funny because back at that time, Sidney Crosby was playing. Sidney was only 16, but I think they were kind of comparing the two because they had the same point totals in the CHL at that time. So I remember when Mike came into the dressing room, like he had signed that day, and he was really shy and felt like, because there was a little bit of a contract holdout, and so there was who's this kid coming in, and he's the brick kid, but Mike was an awesome guy, and he fit right in, and very, very high skill level. It's unfortunate with his hips and that, and just wasn't the same player after that. But it was really exciting for Mike, and I think he had a point in this first game, and of course, being a local kid and probably knowing half the people in the arena that night, he was well received, which was funny because at first it was like, I don't know, how is this kid coming in? We just heard he's very, I would say, overconfident with his skills.
Yeah.
But he left his ego at the door when he showed up in the room. He was very humble and fit in seamlessly to a team that was really close knit.
That's cool to hear because I've only had good encounters and interactions with Mike Comrie in the few times that he's actually been around arenas and stuff and around the Oilers. And then I do remember, I think I was 15 or 16 years old, and they signed him because I know he was there at training camp, had a good camp, and then something happened. He wasn't too happy. It might be that dispute. And then they signed him and they brought him in. And I was like, I don't know who I like more, Doug Weight or Mike Comrie. And still a Doug Weight guy. But then, after Weight left and got traded in the offseason, I'm like, well, Mike Comrie's my favorite Oiler now. And he had a couple of really good years with the team. So it was interesting because he was an Edmonton kid, right? And he's one of those guys you were like, well, he's from Edmonton. Don't get me wrong. He had a lot of advantages over a lot of kids, but he was a damn good hockey player at the end of the day.
Yeah, and really so confident on the ice for a young player, right? Mm-hmm. Like would go up against Darian Hatcher and try a toe drag at the blue line, right? And it worked. That's the thing. He had a sick toe drag. I don't know how he did it because you could see it coming from a mile away, but somehow he managed to get past guys.
The doc says, I used to watch Comrie light up Aikinsdale Arena growing up when he played for the Saints, the most dominant hockey player I've ever seen since McDavid. He was unreal in the AJHL. Pisani put up monster numbers in the AJHL. There's some great players that went through the AJ and St. Albert when they had the Saints.
Paul was a great player too.
Paul Comrie.
I played with Paul in the minors a bit. Really, both of them. It's too bad that injuries kind of, especially in Paul's case, because he got the noggin bonked a little bit too much and had to kind of early retirement because of the concussions. But seems like he's doing all right.
Everything I've heard, I haven't seen him around the city, but I would assume he's just fine. And what I remember one story really quickly before we get to number 3 game changers, but I think it was the skills competition when they did, do the skills comp. I think Paul was, I don't know if he was on his way back from, that concussion or trying to make a go of it, but they had him and Mike in the skills competition. I remember thought to myself, that is so cool. Your brother is with you. You're both, NHLers, one guy trying to get it back into the league and the other guy just making his debut kind of thing. But I remember the two of them being brothers from Edmonton with the Oilers on the skills competition ice. And I was like, that is so cool. So good memories, Gager, from that team.
They had what's called the Braggers Cup in the summertime where Mike would pick a team. Well, we just play, but the last game they would pick sides. And it was one of the most intense battles of games to 5 you would ever see.
Really?
Oh my gosh. The one championship year, I had been playing, but I just sucked the whole time. And Mike didn't pick me on the team that year and for the final, and I was kind of mad. But and then so we had the final game, and I was on Paul's team, and we won the Braggers Cup. But Bucky, we had to separate Kelly Buchberger and Ryan Smith because they were going to fight in that game. From Ryan Bast, he was hacking and He had one gear, and that was he played the same way in the NHL as he did in summer. But it was one of the most tense, fierce battles of summer hockey that you would ever find for that Braggers Cup. Then we'd all hit billiard club with this thing we won the Stanley Cup. It was hilarious.
Billiard club, great spot, great memories. Ryan Bast, I met him through Jack Michaels because I think Bast was in Alaska for a bit at one point. Yep. Yeah, and so Jack became really good buddies with him, and Ryan is here with his family in town. So great blast from the past, including Ryan Bast. I love it. Okay, it's Game Changers with Joaquin Gage, brought to you by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. Number 1 was What's Your Vector, Victor? Number 2, Stay Off the Naughty List. Number 3, this is the one that made me laugh. Well played, Gager. My PK is better than your PP.
Yeah, if anyone's taken time to watch the Tampa Bay Lightning's power play, it's lethal. When Kucherov, one of the best left-handed one-timers, it's I would say it might even be better than Leon Draisaitl's, how he can get that puck off. And then you go right over to the other side with Stamkos. Nice thing is you don't have Hedman at the top right now, Braden Point lurking around. It's just somewhat like the Oilers power play. It's a guys that have been together for a long time and know how to succeed.
Yep.
And I think tonight's game, Tommy, a lot is going to depend on the specialty teams. I see this game being a lot closer than you think. I think it's going to be a seesaw battle 5-on-5. Specialty teams is going to be where this game is won. 2 great power plays.
Yes.
I just hope that, I want to see, I'm interested to see how this new Oilers PK stands up to this test, because it is going to be tested tonight. So I think that's where the game is actually going to be won. Not so much the Oilers PP, but their PK. If they can shut down the Tampa Bay Lightning, I think the Oilers come out with a victory here.
That PK Gager is now in the top half of the league at 15th in the NHL, just at 80% or just over. And I think in this last stretch of games, it's just allowed 1 goal on 26 opportunities. So it is clicking. Whatever Mark Stewart is doing and whatever they're seeing on the ice and executing with, it's been very, very fruitful and productive for them. So you're right. This is going to be an interesting special teams matchup. Hey, Penner's Pancake says, Gager, you're looking really good tonight. Looking very sharp, actually, is the proper quote from Penner's Pancakes.
I told you, Tommy, I thought I'd slip into something more comfortable. It's the evening,
Leather Daddy doing his thing. Gager, awesome stuff as always. Thank you for sliding in for Cass, and I look forward to catching up with you on the post-game show.
Can't wait.
All right, there's Joaquin Gage, our game analyst, stepping in for Cass. Great stuff, as always, from Joaquin Gage. And if you want to get in on the nasty chat, please do. And then if you want to text us, 780-218-9999. Nate the Builder says, Basti, my boy. Yes, Ryan Bast I think he's an Edmonton guy, or he is back here, and a super, super nice guy. I've had a chance to catch up with him, and I met his wife too. Just super awesome people. So Nate the Builder, yes, I'll back you up on that one. Appreciate the text. This one says, I was a counselor at a hockey school when Mike Comrie was like 12. He was better than I was even at that age. Unreal skill. Yeah, he was so good. So good. Vance Van Vandervan chiming in says, I think at the start of the year, Ekholm was playing mad because he was injured. Now I think he's playing mad because he wants to be mad because he's a Viking, and F you. That's why. Vance Van Vandervan, great insight as always. Appreciate the humor, my friend, and thanks for the text. All right, keep those things going. And by those things, I mean the text, nasty chat, and those text lines, 780-218-9999. Let's dip back into the Oilers locker room, and let's hear from the kid on the 12-game heater, Evan Bouchard.
For you personally, I mean, I know some players say they don't look at stats, so I'll forgive you if you don't know, but are you aware of the point streak and how long it's been clicking along here?
Yeah, you guys have actually made it pretty clear to me. So that's kind of the only reason I follow it too much.
Okay, well, you're welcome. What's been working for you? Why do you feel you have been able to rack up the points?
I think it comes down to team success. Everyone's playing the right way. I've said it before, I think when a team's doing well, it makes it a lot easier on individuals, and individuals start getting points, and luckily for me, that's what's happening right now.
Obviously, there was a change of the coaching staff. Paul Coffey's on board. What's your relationship like with Paul, and how do you feel he's helped you along the way here?
Yeah, relationship with Paul is great. He's been helping me out since I first got drafted here. But no, behind the bench, really positive, really harping on every single one of us on the back end making plays, and I think it's given us a lot more confidence to do that, and I think it's working out for us.
You guys using the middle of the ice a little bit more, right? Not afraid to throw it to the middle for that outlet there. Being encouraged to make plays. Maybe just from a confidence standpoint, what the messaging means when the coaches are saying, "We know you can make plays."
Yeah, like I said, when you're making plays to the middle like that, it gives you that much more confidence. When forwards kind of know what we're doing, it makes it easier. We know they're going to be there, they know to be there, and it's kind of all in sync right now, and I think that's a huge thing for us.
This is the team that I'm sure you guys knew you were. You've gotten back to being that way. Just how far off track did it get, and how different does it feel now that it's turned back around and you're heading in the right direction?
Yeah, like you said, we knew the team we were. We weren't playing to our potential to start the year. We dug ourselves a pretty big hole, but we found a way to get out of it. Still a lot more to do, a lot more hockey to play. We're just looking to keep building off what we're doing.
Go ahead. It's a confident group, and you guys through last season, the tail end of the season, you carried yourself with confidence. You played great. To have that come out from underneath you, and now you're earning it back. Do you appreciate it a little bit more because you know how fast it can come out of your game?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's we hit a point that we don't want to get back to. Like you said, we know our capabilities. We know what the potential we have in here, and we're just looking to keep building on that.
Evan, you're much more assertive on the power play. When you first took over the reins as PP1 quarterback, there was a little bit of a feeling out process, and I think you were pretty vocal about that. How has that process kind of played out leading up to today?
I think it's worked out pretty well. The PP's starting to really click right now. The pucks are going in for us. We're all making smart plays, good plays with the puck, and when your special teams can get you one, it's huge.
When you're playing with guys like McDavid, Nugent-Hopkins, and Draisaitl, what did that feeling out process look like in the early stages of taking over this power play?
Get them the puck, because when they have the puck, 99% of the time they're going to make a great play with it. They don't need much time, much space, and that's all you really need on a power play. If you give them a extra half second, they're going to make that play, and it seems to be in the back of their net.
There's Evan Bouchard looking to keep the hot hand going. Points in 12 straight for the Oilers blue liner, and 16 back of Paul Coffey's record. 28 for Paul Coffey. Very impressive indeed from young Evan Bouchard. Yes, we do remind him that he is on an absolute heater, and I think all Oiler fans can appreciate that very, very much. All right, Vance Van Vandervan clearly got the joke about Leather Daddy. It is from Arrested Development. And if you ever watch that show, Tobias Funke wanted to get some leather. There was a big leather episode, and that was a reference to Joaquin Gage's leather jacket that he wore today on the pregame show. I hope he brings it back for the postgame. Do you have a leather jacket, Trev?
No, I do not have a leather jacket. I do not pull off the leather jacket. It's something I feel like I need to be a little bit older to pull that off. I've tried. Like I'm sure you can, but I feel like a leather jacket comes with age, and I tried one on once, and I'm just like, no, not even close. So I took it off right away. But I want to, man. Move. Yeah, like it's props to Gager. Like he rocks it.
If you get the right leather jacket, and it looks and it fits right, it's all good. And Gager's is a really good one. So props to Gager, and thank you, Vance Van Vandervan, and the others in the nasty chat that did catch the Arrested Development reference. Okay, let's get to a quick out-of-town scoreboard update as the Oilers and Lightning. That is one game of an 8-game slate tonight in Philly. The Caps lead the Flyers 2-1 late in the second period. The Blue Jackets blowing the doors off of the Maple Leafs in Toronto, 5-0 late in the second. 1-1 Detroit and Carolina, that one in the Motor City. Minnesota has a 1-0 lead on Calgary in Minnie late in the first period. I don't know if you saw this, but there was an investigation into Bill Guerin, and it had to do with verbal abuse towards the team's team services manager and one of their PR guys. And they found and concluded they had to bring in investigators, independent investigators, to see if there was wrongdoing and if it was a fireable offense. Turns out it wasn't. And Bill Guerin maintains his role as GM of the Minnesota Wild, but he was not here when the Wild came through town last week. And he's been away from the team. So Bill Guerin not being let go after an investigation into some alleged verbal abuse, let's call it. St. Louis, with Drew Bannister, the former Oiler, behind the bench, leads the Ottawa Senators 1-0 in St. Louis after one. And then we got the Oilers and the Lightning here in Edmonton coming up in about 25 minutes or so. And then you got Seattle hosting Chicago. Vancouver welcomes in the Florida Panthers. We will keep an eye on that game for sure and update you on the post-game show because the Panthers will help the Oilers conclude this 6-game homestand that has been perfect so far at 4-0. Pillman with the text coming in saying, "Evening, gents. I stick with the denim jacket." Pillman, do you have a pack of darts in the one breast pocket? If not, that's good. Keep those lungs pink and vibrant, if you will. Dr. Gonzo says Billy G on the vino, just losing it. Hopefully not, but things can get heated, and it hasn't gone to plan in Minnesota. And Bill Guerin is an emotional guy for sure, but it looks like they've gotten that resolved, and the investigation has not led to the conclusion that Bill Guerin initiated a fireable offense. So that's the update there. Let's go into the Lightning locker room and hear from head coach John Cooper now.
John, how different do you think the Oilers team you're going to see tonight is compared to the one that you saw a few weeks ago back in Tampa?
The big difference for me is in between the ears. Last time they were there, I think there was a lot of noise around the team, and it was affecting the way they play. I think that's been taken away, and they focused on playing hockey. I think we all know that they were a much better team than their record, and now they're proving it. And everything from the goaltending on the way out is giving them a lift. And in the end, I think 97 was probably not 100% healthy back then. Now he is, and he's showing why he's one of the best players in the world. So, Draisaitl is the same. All those guys have elevated their game, but like I said, they got rid of the white noise, and now the Oilers are being the Oilers.
Who would the white noise be?
I don't know. That's the stuff I pick up from you guys.
When you look at Chris Knoblauch was coaching in Game 3 then, and I know you...
Was that their last loss?
No, they lost
Carolina.
a couple
of
Florida and Carolina after.
I was going to say, that feels like we were their last loss.
Yeah, they beat Washington at the end of the trip, and then continued on from there. But I don't know if you watch other coaches, so I know you watch other players, you prepare for the other team. I don't know, could you have an assessment on him as a coach so far early in his career, or is it too early to know much about what kind of coach he is?
Well, I do know what kind of coach he is. I don't know him personally, but I have guys on our team that have played for him. So that's your best vehicle of finding out information, and there was nothing but high praise. I wish I could come up here and say he sucks, but he apparently doesn't from what a lot of guys that have won Stanley Cups in our room. And I was talking to Paul Coffey, and there you go, there's a legend of the games, has got high praise for him. So you look the way the team has responded in front of him, it's hard not to say he's doing a hell of a job. When you're getting that from current coaches, current players, and former players, it seems to be a little bit higher.
How do you feel about your team's game? I know the other night didn't go the way you wanted to.
It's hard because you wake up in the morning and it's a 4-1 loss. And so there's nothing you can sit up here and say that's going to change that number other than build off the fact that, we're probably giving up one too many, one a game that we shouldn't be giving up, and we're scoring one less than we should. And those happen, all of a sudden your point percentage changes. We can't cry over the spilled milk. It's what it is, and we have to be better. But if you look at the whole game as a whole and you ripped off the jersey numbers and names and all that stuff, and you'd say, well, Tampa actually was pretty good in this game. But the win-loss tells differently, and it's a result-based business, so we didn't get the result we wanted.
I got one for you.
Oh, boy.
They have the problem with headshots. They brought in a little 48, and they've made quite a dent in that. They've gotten rid of some of the bad players, and they got rid of some bad hits. They wanted to get rid of fighting. They've made some real changes. There's no more heavyweights sitting in or benches anymore. Why hasn't checking from behind penalties, why hasn't the checking from behind penalty gotten rid of checking from behind?
Well, so body checking, the back is part of the body. So head is completely different. So when you turn at any moment, and as fast as this game is, your back can be exposed. I don't know a player in the league, well, maybe a couple, but pretty much not, that go around thinking they're going to hit a guy in the back. There's way too much respect among the players and how they play the game. Because it's played so fast, some of those checks are going to happen. I just don't feel personally that guys go in and hit a guy deliberately in the back. I have not seen it from whether it's my team or other teams. Now it's come up lately because of some situations. Then you have to look at players' histories and say, well, has this guy done this before? Is this in his repertoire? Then you got to make the judgment for yourself. But I think it's hard to get away. You'll never get away with it because the back's part of the body and body checking is allowed. Until you get rid of body checking, which we hope never happens, then that's always going to be an issue.
There you go. There's Lightning head coach John Cooper. Well-spoken. Honestly, I've had some opportunity to spend a little bit of time around him the past couple summers, and he's just really, really good guy. And what you see is pretty much what you get from him, on camera, off camera, away from microphones, and well thought out there. And an interesting question from Speck at the end about the hitting from behind thing. And yeah, we continue to see it in the National Hockey League and at lower levels too, which is not great. You don't want to see guys get hurt at any level from hits from behind. I remember back in the day, Trev, I don't know when you were playing in and around, where were you? In Rocky Mountain House? No, Pincher Creek. Did you guys have the stop signs above the name bars on your jerseys? Yeah.
Yep.
And it doesn't seem to be doing anything nowadays. And if you hit a guy from behind, like when I was younger, especially in like bantam, midget, and then into junior, you had to fight. So guys were a little reluctant to do it. Anyway, let's get to the inbox here. A couple of texts that have been coming in. Someone said, who's holding the EST mic? That's me. I'm down at the rink every damn day for the most part. So, yes, that was me. And I got that press conference going, asking Coop about the difference between the Oilers now compared to the team they faced a couple of weeks ago. Sean says, Lightning locker room. Let's go to the Leafs locker room. They're down 5-0 to the Blue Jackets. Sean adds in a hearty ha, ha, ha. All right, YouTube, Trev, what have you learned from today's show? What are you anticipating in this game between the Oilers and Lightning, pal?
Well, first off, I just want to say Joaquin Gage just said in the chat, can't believe YouTube Trev just called me old. No, I need to reword what I said. No, I like more mature people, like maybe like more, I don't know, but not I'm going to get myself in trouble. So I'm just going to stop talking. You're not old, Joaquin Gage. You can just pull it off. You look real good. As for the game tonight, this is a team that can burn you like quite a bit. You look at all the offensive weapons they have, Cooch, Stammer, Braden Point. They're pretty heavy through the middle as well. I remember John Cooper saying he'd take his three centermen over any team in the NHL last year in the playoffs. So they're deep, right? Very deep. They just need to play a pretty smart game, come out like they did in Carolina, start a lot stronger than they did against Chicago. Because if they fall under 1-2 goals against Tampa Bay Lightning, there's a good chance they're not going to come out of it when you're facing Andrei Vasilevsky. So play smart, play sound, which they have been doing. I really love the play of Bouch and Matthias Ekholm lately, just closing the gap, making good reads. They're reading off each other so well. Their chemistry is just coming together like just so good. So that's pretty well all I got. And then obviously Connor, that first line is rolling. It's absolutely buzzing. It's such a treat as like a hockey fan just to watch how just what a weapon they are right now. So it's so cool to see. I'm expecting that to continue, and Yeah, it should be a good game. Oh, sorry, I'm just laughing at the chats right now. I'm sorry, Gager, but yeah, that's my thoughts. That's my thoughts, Tommy. What about yourself?
I think we're going to see a lot of goal scoring tonight, and I mean, both goalies are Vasilevsky coming off that injury where he missed 20 games, but he is one of the best in the NHL. Stuart Skinner's numbers are improving. The eye test, the numbers, all that have been better. He's been steady, so those two are going to be tested. But I do love offense, so I'm hoping for a bunch of goals. And then with the Oilers special teams being as good as they have been of late, I think maybe that gives them a slight advantage. And the Lightning have had their fair share of struggles lately, so an opportunity for Edmonton to make the most of that situation and maybe tie a franchise record that's been done twice before in 40 some odd years, where they win 9 in a row. So I like the Oilers' chance in this game, but it's not a game of chance. So you got to kind of earn those good breaks, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think we're going to see some offense. So with that being said, should be highly entertaining. I'll throw this question of the night out there one more time really quickly. If you're in the nasty chat, just let me know what you think. And if you want to text us, 780-218-9999. Do you think this version of the Oilers will be able to tie and then set the franchise record for consecutive wins? Yay, nay, and why? Let me know, and we'll read those out as we get set to wind things down. Really quickly, starting lineups for the Oilers: McDavid between Nugent-Hopkins and Hyman, Draisaitl with Fogle and Janmark on his flanks, McLeod centering Kane and Brown, Hamblin with Gagne and Ryan. On defense, Nurse with CC, Ekholm with Bouchard, Kulak and Desharnais. No Holloway, IR, Ernie or Gleason. As for Tampa, confirmed by our guest, Gabby Shirley from the Lightning, covering them for Bally Sports Florida. Braden Point between Alex Barre-Boulet and Nikita Kucherov. Anthony Cirelli with Tanner Jeannot and Brandon Hagel. Nick Paul centering Steven Stamkos and Connor Sheary. And then on the fourth line, Luke Glendening with Tyler Mott and Michael Isamont. On defense for the Lightning, Mikhail Sergachev with Eric Chernak. Calvin DeHaan with Darren Radish. Hayden Fleury with Nicholas Perbix. Out for Tampa, the big man, Victor Hedman, day-to-day upper body. Maybe he plays Saturday against the Calgary Flames. He's not the Oilers' problem tonight. Also injured, Logan Brown, IR, undisclosed, and Austin Watson. The Lightning made a little bit of a roster move and shuffle today. They recalled defenseman Sean Day from the Syracuse Crunch, reassigning defenseman Philip Myers and Mitchell Chaffee today. Mitchell Chaffee, a forward. Your goalies, Stuart Skinner and Vasilevsky. Those two large individuals go toe-to-toe between the pipes. Connor F. says, yes, they tie the record as long as they continue to play like this version of the Oilers. LOL. And yeah, you don't want to see them playing like early season Oilers because that was stanky. That was bad. Spruce Grove Corey. Yeah, on topic today. I miss the perm, says Spruce Grove Corey. Well, you're one of a dozen. I am not one of those people, Spruce Grove Corey, but it was a thing, and people got a good kick out of it. All right, that's going to do it for the Oil Stream pregame show. Great show, lots of fun. We had some laughs. Gager filling in for Cass with a great game changers, and I enjoyed his 3 bullet points. If you didn't catch it, I'll read them out because they were that good. It was, what's your vector, Victor? Number 2 is stay off the naughty list. And number 3 was my PK is better than your PP. Gager with the good stuff, as he generally does bring to the table. And also had that leather jacket, which YouTube Trev referred to him as old. And then apparently also referred to me as old. But that's okay, Trev. I'm not that upset about it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you better feel bad. Yeah. Game Changers is always brought to you by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. That's going to do it for the pregame show. As always, a huge thank you to all of you who tuned in and texted in and watched and listened. A big thank you to Gabby Shirley from the Lightning for Bally Sports Florida for hopping on, giving us the Tampa perspective. Thank you to Gager. Thank you to YouTube Trev. And for Gager and YouTube Trev, I'm Tom Gazzola saying enjoy the Oilers versus the Lightning. We will see you on the postgame show. Ciao for now.